I sit to my left with a stack of photographs stamped on the back, July 1987. There are 76 with that stamp on the back. 56 are for some day in July of an outdoor birthday party scene. 20 are from another birthday, my birthday, in a hospital kitchenette room. The outdoor birthday scene is a shared party between my brother and my own. It would be his first and my third. It looks sunny with lawn chairs, kids' tables, a swing set, a sandbox, and a shed, all surrounded by a short dark brown fence. There are a number of relatives and small cousins and a few people I no longer know. The kids are playing and the men are drinking some brand of beer I don't recognize. The women are tending to the kids. There are 3 birthday cakes, one for me, one for my brother, and one for someone I'm not sure of. In all of them, people are moving, people are standing, and people are smiling. We ate hot dogs, drank milk and juice, played, and opened gifts. My father is not in any of the photographs, so he must be the photographer. Some pictures are taken at his 6-foot height, some on knee, and some close portraits. Of the 56 from that day, I was in 37. I wore a green shirt with yellow and blue shorts hiked up past my belly button. In one photo, you see me belly laughing with my head up in the air, my knees bent and my butt sticking back. In it, you can also see the outline of my colostomy bag that is trying to be hidden by my hiked shorts. I had it installed at Easter, and directly after this joint birthday party, I was to head to the hospital to have it removed, along with part of my colon. I think that's why there are so many photographs of me from that day, in case I died. So there's this one photograph of me, where there are 3 kids looking around at the kids' table. My grandfather's in the midground, chewing, and my mother is in the background, looking at me, rubbing her eye. I am looking away from the camera at her. We are engaged with each other. A flash of heat traveling 8 minutes from the sun, reflecting off my mother's sad face and the back of my hair, entering the camera and burning onto the film, capturing our gaze. That 1/30th of a second of heat as light is preserved on a Kodak print that is now reflecting and absorbing light from the fluorescent bulbs in my basement. The splattering photons of various wavelengths are bouncing around this room, most missing my eye but some entering. Amongst all this chaos and heated noise, my faculties are able to bring to bear an impression in my mind of that photograph here in front of me. I have no memory attached to that site. The configuration of the photograph is not the one that would have met my retina 25 years ago, as it is from the place of my father. Mine is something lost. My mother remembers though. She looks at the photograph, she imagines her footing at the party, at that moment before me, touching her eye, whether an itch, a compulsion, a tear, I do not know. She knows. Even though that photograph does not represent the configuration of photons that met her eye, it is still able to transport her into her footing that I see her standing in. My head lays bare, face turned. She might remember my face, our gaze, our exchange. It is one of deep sadness to stand footed 15 feet from your child then, with that light, with those people there, imagining soon the movement that would be ending at the hospital, in that room, where I would lay there and she would sit bare. 56 photos in a few hours span, 37 of me. The first photograph in the hospital is of me in some sort of train conductor outfit wearing a birthday hat, standing in front of a door that had a sign saying "Happy birthday to you" and I'm 3 today. On my left hand is a hospital admitted bracelet. I'm smiling and not yet had the surgery. A group of half-dozen kids with their parents and my grandparents were all there. The room was a mix of a kitchenette and a playroom. There were toys and mats to sit on. There are tubes twisting everywhere across the mat. One girl has her foot caught around the tube of another child that is wrapped around his ears and into his nose. There's another girl with one of those old IV carts that is big and blue, and she has it attached to her hand, but her hand is completely wrapped like an oven mitt. Another kid was in some strange stroller I've never seen before. He had a feeding tube attached to his nose and the side of his face, and he was sort of looking back at what one of the adults was doing. Another kid had the identical disease I had and was about to undergo the procedures I was in the middle of. He is in these photographs with his mother, who is wearing a long-sleeved white shirt. There is a picture of a doctor, maybe my doctor, and a nurse eating pieces of my cake. All mums there, no dads, except my dad, omitted in photograph but present as the photographer. These 20 fractions of a second recorded are identical representations of my father's visual experience at that time there. It was with his left eye closed as he used his right eye to look through the viewfinder, to move, to look, and to shoot. There are no photographs of him on his knee or any portraits, just distance, fully standing shots. A distance felt throughout the room. Then, now in that photograph, to have archived that instant of heat in a room of bodies, bodies of motion, of life, of laughter. To archive that fever of heat of bodies that may now come to rest is something unique. Then, for my father's eye to hear my desk writing and looking. After that party, I would enter the operating room and be cut from one side of my pelvis to the next. They removed the plastic prosthetic and flesh and used staples, of which there were 6, to close me, but not close me completely. I would be left partially open as to not trap any infection. I would not eat for 10 days as my body would repair. It would desire food so much so that they would give me a popsicle, only to have the contents immediately pumped back out through my nose feeding tube. I would have my hand wrapped like an oven mitt to pull out any of the wires or hardware inserted into me. 20 pictures, all of me, all at a distance. There is a matter of heat, of burning, and of absorbing and reflecting involved in the formation of a photograph. There's a matter of distance, a physical distance from the subjects, a temporal distance from occurrence, and an optical distance of the photographer as he views the world in that moment through lenses and mirrors. There is a photograph from a different set of photographs of me lying in my hospital bed, completely wired with tubes, and looking incredibly tired. My mother remembers looking out the hospital window at the Jubilee Auditorium with all those people in nice clothes, entering for a performance of some kind. She remembers her place in that hospital chair looking out the window and understanding that there is an appreciable divide between worlds, one of carrying on with life and one of intense immobility. That chair in that room next to that bed is one of stillness. Moments there dissolve temporality and become simply a moment. The loved object remains a few feet away, but the barrier of sickness of a sick child, your sick child, places them as a loss. My mother describes those moments as one of intense mourning. There is a mourning without a perceivable lost object, as I, though lying still, am still there. Then, 6 feet away, is terribly melancholic. Maybe it is in preparation for the potential loss, a death, or an irreversible change in my body, in my potential for functionality for the life I will develop into and live. Maybe it is the sickness itself, unrelenting searching and fighting for years with doctors to discern my illness, the root of my pain and now of hers, with its cause now found and in repair, creates this barrier of loss, the loss of the search for this pain, but the pain remains as an object that is not readily perceivable but is still present within her, internalized, a moment without loss, a morning without loss. Or is it the loss in temporality? The hospital is a place of movement, of cutting, of scanning, of inserting, but the rooms are one of stillness, of waiting, of suspension. Through the window, the pace of time is visible, but within those walls, it is simply a moment. This is why the photograph is so melancholic, not because it is some burned remain of a now infinitely gone time, a reminder of lost youth, the transport to lost moments, or a reminder of the ever-present marching of time and of death. The photograph itself is melancholic. It is in its stillness, its suspension between one moment and another while things are kept moving. When holding a photograph of your moment or someone else's moment, the object itself exists as a loss. There is a loss perceived in you of many magnitudes, some I have listed before, but the object, the photograph itself, has its own internal logic, and that is of a loss of something still present, a burning on the film, but one without the heat. However, the heat itself remains within the burning. The two are forever together. But simultaneously, that instant of heat off my mother's face and off the back of my head is gone. The photons are lost as they transfer their energy, their heat into film, into a burn. So the heat is both present and lost simultaneously within the photograph, in a state of suspension, a moment. That is the photograph.